Welcome back to Gardening from Square One, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're a home gardener or landscape enthusiast looking to create a beautiful, resilient garden in 2025, you are in the right place. Today, I am thrilled to share my top 10 plants, all of which are perfect for warm climates, and many thrive down to zones 5 and 6. Happy New Year, everyone, and please stay tuned. So in this video, I will be counting down my top 10 plants for 2024 that are perfect for gardeners in warm climates and many of those who garden down to zones 5 and 6. Now, each plant on this list has been carefully selected for its remarkable attributes, including deer and rabbit resistance, drought tolerance, and minimal pest issues. From vibrant flowering perennials to hardy shrubs, these selections will not only enhance your landscape and bring beauty, but they will also provide peace of mind when it comes to maintenance. So join me as I delve into the specific benefits of each plant, including their unique colors, textures, and growth habits. So whether you're dealing with water restrictions or simply want to reduce your garden's watering footprint, these plants are sure to inspire your next gardening project. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your favorite plants from the list. So let's cultivate a thriving, beautiful garden together in 2025. And without further ado, the first plant on my list is the Buddleia, also known as butterfly bush. Now, the nice thing about the Buddleia is, depending upon what size, what color, blooms you want on this plant, there's probably a butterfly bush for you. Some of them grow as low as 1.5 feet in height by somewhere around 2 feet in width, all the way up to large shrubs that top out above 8 feet in height and width. The colors, I grow the Lo and Behold, the Puckster, the Mist line. You want to make sure that you have good drainage. It's most rated to zones down to zones 5 up to about zones 9. The next plant on my list is Nepeta or catmint. The variety that I grow is Cat's Meow. I selected Cat's Meow because I wanted something a little taller in height. It will become about 2 feet in height, and it will become wider than it is tall, so it should become about 3 feet in width. The cat's pajamas, it seems like that one flowers a little more than the Cat's Meow, but it is lower growing, so closer to that 12 to 16 inch in height, and I needed something taller to clear the raised planter. Now this plant, of course, because it's in my garden and in the front yard, it is deer and rabbit resistant. It is heat tolerant, drought tolerant. It is rated for zones 3 through 8, so practically everyone can grow it. And to be perfectly honest, when I gardened in zone 9A, I grew this plant. The next plant on my list, if you follow my channel at all, you will find that this should be of no surprise. It is the Mystic Spire Salvia. For those of you growing plants in Texas, this plant is a Texas superstar. It will produce gorgeous dark blue, purple flowers beginning in early spring all the way through, well, now. We have not had our first frost or hard frost yet, although next week it is coming. So next Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe we're going to dip down to 29, 28 degrees for the low and 40 degrees, somewhere in the 40s for the high. So winter will actually be arriving for us here in Central Texas next week. And I expect that these herbaceous perennials, so Mystic Spire Salvia, will die all the way back to the ground. I don't really do anything to it. Some say that you can just cut it back to the ground, make sure it's, got some mulch around it. Last year I didn't do anything to mine, and they didn't really miss much of a beat. I cut them back some in the spring. It begins growing from the base of the plant, so it's not going to do much with those old stalks if you leave them there throughout the winter. So I don't know. I think this year, once we have a hard freeze, I will probably just cut them back to the ground. But anyway, this is a long blooming plant. Here it's going to bloom for about 9 months. They thrive in full sun, part shade, hardy down to about a 0. So anyone growing plants from a 7A on up, you should be able to grow this in the ground, and it should return reliably for you every year. It is no muss, no fuss. The next plant on my list is the Blue Fortune Agastache, or Agastache, also known as Anise Hyssop. This one has gorgeous lavender blue flowers. Sometimes they look kind of lavender, other times they look blue. I have found that when it's grown in full sun, the blooms can take on a lavender shade, whereas in part sun, they tend to stay blue. This plant is drought tolerant. Again, no issues with pests, deer, rabbit, diseases. It prefers neutral to slightly alkaline soil, which is perfect for me here. Our soil is alkaline here in central Texas for the most part. And that's why I don't grow certain plants. Like I love gardenias, but I try to grow them in the ground. They need acid, and so I grow them in pots where I can control the acidity better, and so they thrive in pots here. There are a lot of other acid-loving plants that those on the East Coast can grow, so the Carolinas and other places, they just don't thrive here. And so that's my gardening tip for this video. Pay attention to, or get your soil tested. Find out whether it skews alkaline, neutral, or acidic, because that is going to heavily dictate how well certain plants perform in your garden. Some of them just need the acid. So the Blue Fortune Agastache is not picky. Just make sure it has good drainage, and it will reward you with gorgeous flowers from summer all the way through the winter in warmer climates. Practically everyone can grow this plant. It is rated zone 4 to 9. The next plant on my list is the Summertime Blues Vitex tree. It has gorgeous lavender blue flowers that begin in spring. I'm going to say around May. It starts to show its flowers. In April, it starts to leaf out, so late April. It is deer and rabbit resistant, no pests. It is extremely drought tolerant. I planted a Summertime Blues Vitex tree last spring, and then a couple of months later, well, let's see, I planted it in, I think, May, and then by July we were in extreme water restrictions. We couldn't water at all, and this plant continued to grow, continued to bloom. And just a point of reference, we get about 34-ish inches of rain per year, but that rain doesn't come in July and August typically. It's pretty dry here during July and August, and this tree made it through that extreme drought. And so the watering restrictions of 2023 with no issues whatsoever. The one word of caution is don't believe the tags. If you purchase it and it says that it's going to become 4 to 5 feet in wide, 4 to 5 feet in width, because clearly this plant that I'm showing right now has been in my garden for a little more than a year. year and a half tops, and it is already at least 10 feet in width. So things can grow bigger in Texas, that's for sure. And I know it's the same for other warmer climates. The next plant is an evergreen. It is the sprinter boxwood. Now, they say that you should ideally follow a 60-30-10 rule. So 60% of what's in your yard should be evergreens, 30% should be perennials, and then 10% annuals. I definitely skew towards following this at the front of my house because I live in a warm climate. I garden on my lot is slightly more than an acre, and the the front of my house, it's not a pie shape. So the front of my house, it's wide across the front, and there's a lot going on, and we have an HOA, and so curb appeal is important, and that's why I really paid attention to making sure that all year my garden, has curb appeal, and the different evergreens help with that. Now, along the fence line, I planted a lot of sprinter boxwoods, not just to soften the rot or fencing, but to put in some evergreen interest as time progresses. Now, these sprinter boxwoods will become about 3 feet high, 3 feet wide. It made the list because number one, it's fast growing. Number two, while many of my boxwoods this year got attacked by spider mites, and yes, I'm talking about you dirung and you Japanese boxwood, but these weren't attacked by spider mites at all. They are very drought tolerant. The ones along my fence line are not on any auto irrigation. In fact, most of the time I forget they're there. About the only thing they receive is overspray from the sprinklers. Because it's near the lawn, and but that my sprinklers, I water the lawn once a week when it's hot, so during the summer. And so these sprinter boxwoods are fast growing. They provide evergreen structure, which, and those of you who garden where you get snow, heavy snow, we get snow here sometimes. It is so beautiful when you still have boxwoods and different things to create the shapes during the snow. So even in areas where there's a lot of snow, having evergreens is important. But in terms of boxwoods, right now, the winner in my garden, I think I grow 4 different types of boxwood. The winner is the sprinter boxwood. Speaking of evergreens, I also grow the kindly privet. I purchased these directly from proven winners. I've been growing them, all of them, for about a year and a half at this point. They are supposed to be non-invasive, replacing the Japanese privets, the Texas privets, and other types of privets that, you find in gardens throughout this country. Now, this one becomes about 6 feet in height, 4 feet in width. The ones that I'm showing right now, I added October of 2023, and you can see how quickly they grow. They don't require a lot of water. They've been disease free. The rabbits and the deer don't eat them. And so it is a great alternative to other types of privets. I like the privets because you can do a lot with them. They can create a dense hedge. You can create a tree. You can create, different spirals and topiaries with them. But, invasive plants, that's a real thing. And so the kindly privet, I've been very impressed with so far, in that they grow fast, they're disease free, the critters don't like them. So this plant definitely made my list. The next plant on my list is a rock-steady Vitex. This one is a proven winners. It will become about 12 feet in height, 4 to 5 feet in width. Grows in full sun. Now, It is reported that it will bloom for many weeks beyond other varieties. And to be perfectly honest, I grow 5 different types of Vitex or chase trees in my yard. The Rocksteady and a busy bee Vitex that is growing in part part sun, filtered sun throughout the day, part shade at points of the day. It is still in bloom also, but the the Rocksteady Vitex actually started blooming before the busy bee. It's growing in full sun here. It is heat and drought tolerant. Most of you can grow this plant as it is hardy down to zone 5B all the way up to 9B. The next plant on my list is the Salvia gregii or autumn sage. Now this plant looks great. In most gardens, it creates a shrub that will become about 3 feet in height, 3 feet in width. You can find it with blooms in pink, white, purple, red. I mean, there's a full range of colors of the blooms. Now, this one is not a good plant for those growing in colder zones, but anyone in a zone 7 to 9, this will be a great plant for you. As I was going to mention, it's great for xeriscapes and rock gardens. It is a Texas native. It is semi-evergreen. This plant can be used as a low hedge. I recently added some white Salvia gregii, so it's been about 3 weeks now, 3 weeks or so. I'm going to have to give them a little more mulch just to make sure they get through this winter. It is disease-free, not bothered by any insects. It is definitely a winter here in warm climate. The next plant is the Marvel Mahonia. One of the wonderful attributes of this plant, besides it being deer resistant, pest resistant, rabbit resistant, is that it's going to provide gorgeous yellow flowers sometime in mid-December here in Central Texas. And those flowers return into blackberries. It has large evergreen leaves. It will become about 6 feet in height, 4 feet in width. It grows in part shade to shade. So these gorgeous yellow flowers, they will brighten up a shady space during the winter. It is hardy down to zone 6 and does well all the way up to zone 9. The next plant on my list is the Feather Falls Carrot. This one, most people can grow. It is hardy down to zone 5 all the way up to zone 9. Now, it is reported to become about 18 inches in height, which is clearly not the case in my garden. Mine are definitely anywhere from 24 to 30 inches in height. The oldest of these that I planted, they're going to be 3 years in my garden in the spring of 2025, and they need to be divided, as you can see. Now, they are low water use. They grow in part shade. So again, if you want to brighten up a space that doesn't get a lot of sun, these are variegated green with white, and they kind of stand out in moonlit gardens and also shade gardens. It is deer resistant, evergreen, fast growing. I think it would look stunning with Dark Side of the Moon astilbe, although I will be adding Brunnera to the area near mine in the spring. Okay, so that is my list. All of these plants are free from major pests and diseases, making them ideal low maintenance choices for any gardener. So if you are landscaping your yard or just looking to add some stunning greenery to your home, these fantastic plants will elevate your outdoor space next year. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your favorite plants from the list, or add any comments or suggestions. And again, let's cultivate a thriving, beautiful garden together in 2025. Thanks for watching. Bye.